and I am excited that you are watching the Nitty Grit.
I left my job because I knew that I needed to become the person I'm supposed to be.
I can flip the script in my life too and choose confidence and not be so fear-based.
I always like to look at confidence. I say confidence is something that you don't have to work for. It's what you get to be.
You come into my life and you bring so much and have, you're an inspired artist.
And I felt that with you because you actually reached out to me. And I said, no, this is someone special. I know that I have experienced the grief recovery that you do. So I'm just grateful that we have people like you out there doing this because it's so needed. I love that analogy. I'm personally guilty of living in dreams and actually a lot of ideas.
Learning to be sensitive in a time of frustration, learning to be confident in a time of frustration, learn to be kind to yourself.
We're all born, right, with these, we have unique heartbeats. We have a unique fingerprint. There's obviously an imprint that each of us are supposed to leave and have here in this world.
Make it a great day because y'all know y'all can. Enjoy your weekend. Hello, everybody. Happy Thursday. Okay, so the Nitty Grit is on a new night, y'all. It is Thursday. I'm so glad you guys could join us tonight. My guest tonight, you're just gonna be so inspired. I am actually inspired by her myself, so I can't wait to bring her on. But y'all, it is this is one of my favorite months. I just want to let y'all know that first off. Many of you who know me and those of you who do not know me, I am Chantel Denise. Thank you, Facebook, for watching. Thank you, YouTube, for watching. Many of you who know me, y'all know I love the ladies. I love women who are out there doing their thing, and I am about spotlighting them and sharing who they are with you. So I'm not going to hold this for longer, but I do want to acknowledge it's Women's History Month, and I'm excited about that. There's more to a month for us women, right? There's more to us. It's not just about a month, but I'm grateful that they gave us a month that we can celebrate as women. But without further ado, y'all, this woman comes to us with so much, and I'm going to let her tell you about herself. But I think she's a beautiful soul, an amazing human being, and I got the privilege to meet her in January as we both competed in a beauty pageant. So without further ado, y'all, I want to introduce you to Johanna Godinez-Nash. Welcome. Hello, beautiful.
Hey. Hi. Thank you so much for having me. How are you?
I'm good. I'm so glad you could be on. I'm so glad.
Me too.
And
so exciting.
I know that it's late over there, y'all. So what's the time difference that you're on?
It's a 4-hour difference, so it's definitely a little later over here.
Y'all, so put some love for her in the chat, y'all, because she's up late. Okay, late. So put some love.
Would have missed this.
So, welcome to the Nitty Grit. I'm so glad you could be on here. I love that beautiful smile of yours. And you got some friends in the background. I hear them, right?
I do. If you know anything about Puerto Rico, we have this little animal called a coquí. It's a little frog, very, very small, but very, very loud. So there's tons of them where I'm at. I have 3 acres here in the woods where I do yoga retreats. So they're all over here.
Wow. I can't wait to talk to you a little bit more about those retreats too. But before we get into the nitty grit, I do want to just let the people know a little bit about who you are. So if you could just share a little bit what you want them to know about you in 65 seconds or so, I would be so excited.
Oh, yeah, I will. First of all, thanks so much again for having me. And if you want to know a little about me, just know that yoga is what drives my life. Yoga is what helped me figure out who I am and how to better show up in the world and how to be a more balanced and just more detached person, which helps just the way that you show up and that you experience life. So everything that I've done in my life, from getting my MBA to now owning a yoga school, has been to really find a way to create freedom for myself, and yoga gave me the tools to do that. So my passion is to share that with others through the various different things that I do.
That is so awesome, girl. You know, I tried yoga a little bit. I tried yoga and Pilates. Now, I do like yoga, but when I first started, I felt being bent all over the place. And I'm like, and I'm not a pretzel. Um, so I admire you all who do that. I think it's a phenomenal exercise. It really, like, I did find balance mentally when I did yoga. So,
Yeah, definitely. Yoga is, well, physically, it can be like an exercise, but it's meant to be so much more than that. Like the definition of yoga is that yoga is the cessation of the fluctuations of your mind. So yoga, what it does, whether it's a physical practice or other ways that you can incorporate the practice, it's to connect you in the present moment, so that you stop
mm,
having conversations in your head with the ideas that randomly pop, or things that you see through your senses or are perceiving through your senses. So yoga is really a way for you to establish a different lens to see the world, which is kind of, it's a little bit different than what most people think of it.
wow, girl, thank you for educating me. You know, I never knew that. And it makes sense because I did feel a peace of
Mhm.
mind and a connection with my body in a different way. So I
Mhm.
appreciate you explaining that. That's a higher, it's so much higher than what normal people think, I believe. Wow.
Yeah, yoga is a very spiritual practice. In fact,
Mm,
the aim of yoga is to help you understand that if life is evolving from one point, then everything stems and is that point. So the fact that we can co-create in this existence is just another way of God expressing itself. And God can
mm,
be whatever you think. So yoga really helps you connect with the divinity inside of you, because it doesn't tell you what to believe. It only tells you that whatever it is already in you. Like, it's nothing external. So you
mm.
can't expect something outside of you to do something for you. It has to come from you, because this is how it's expressed. So it's
That's
just a different way
interesting.
of looking at it. Yeah.
Wow, wow, that's very interesting. Thank you for y'all hear that? Y'all got y'all a yoga lesson. Thank you, Johanna. I appreciate that. Well, thank you so much for also sharing a little bit about you and what you've done. Um, I want to talk a little bit. I want to segue into the actual series. This is my Worthy Woman series, and I consider you a very worthy woman. Um, you are a woman who I see that is winning in her life. Like, I felt that from you when I first met you. I'm like, this lady's, there's something about her that's pretty spectacular, and I want to know about it. So that's one of the reasons why I had you come on, because I really want to kind of connect with you on that level. So thank you for being here. But I titled this, the little tagline is how to win in every area of your life. And so I wanted it, being that you are a yoga instructor and you teach this and you have retreats, I do want to understand a little bit, like, if you were to remove yoga, shall I say, what does it mean for you to win in every area of your life?
Ooh. Well, see, the thing is, yoga is what helped me understand that. So it's hard to remove it. But I mean, to win in every area of my life is for me to understand, first of all, who I am.
Mm,
And second of all, the power that I have to create in this experience, and to have this divine intuition that, if I follow it, can really lead me to really amazing things. Um,
mm.
One of the things, like, that yoga has taught me, I can't take that out of my life, because
Don't
it's
take it
such a
out,
big.
girl. Put it back in there.
Yeah,
I,
I
you
gotta put
know,
it back in.
I was like, let me see how I can present this to her. Go for it. Keep it in
No,
there.
you know what it is? It's the fact that it's giving me the tools to understand my mind. And without that, I
Mm,
don't think I could have ever gotten to this point in my life, because I used to be very identified with my thoughts, with the things that I would think, with the things that I would say, and then trying to figure out if someone else agrees or doesn't agree or what they think about it, or trying to control everything in my environment. And when I started to just realize that this is an experience unfolding and I'm just supposed to be in the present moment and none of that actually matters because what happens, happens, you start like releasing a lot of that. You start forgiving yourself a lot more. You start loving yourself and loving others a lot more, and life just starts to really unfold differently for you. And I think that's been what's made the most difference, because things that have happened to me that would usually knock someone down really hard just make me change perspectives. And yoga gives you that flexibility of not just your body but also your mind, to be able to accept things as they come and let go of the thought that you actually know what really needs to happen in your life. Like, things are, when you resist things, that's when things happen that you don't want. And when you think about what you don't want too much, you attract it. So a lot of it is about being in the moment and understanding who you are and what you want, so you can have a clear vision of where you're going in life, because that's how you show the universe what you want to create, and how that divine inspiration and the opportunities begin to present themselves.
Wow, I appreciate you sharing about being present. Like that's a word that's the word that I chose for myself this year. Very interesting you sharing this. You know, it's so interesting because I think that what you're talking about, like enjoying the moment, I think there's so much that distracts us a lot and we don't enjoy the moment. And it's so special to see that you have a practice that you've chosen. You have yoga and it's helped you to really center your mind, to really be in the moment and present. And I think, if we all can really think about like how can I be present, and doing the work. Because I know years ago I was not a present person. I was like all over the place. You throw this my way, I'll catch it. You throw this my way, I'll catch it. And I didn't enjoy a lot of moments. And so since I chose that word this year, I've been really intentional. So I really like that you share that. Thank you so much, and I love how you win. Your definition of, of winning in every area of your life. I love it. So there's more to you because I was reading your bio, and I didn't want to share all of it because I could have listed everything about you, but I'm like, I just want to have this conversation with her. I don't want to just read off a piece of paper. But I noticed on there that you are a human success development coach. And I'm assuming that that's kind of, you practice that with your yoga. I'd like to know a little bit more about that. Like, tell me what that means, in specific ways. How do you help others? What does it mean?
Absolutely. So a lot of people, again, because there's this huge misconception about the yoga practice, a lot of people resist incorporating it into their lives. And I thought it was kind of a disservice to people to just get stuck on that word. So I developed a program called ELM. And ELM is an evolutionary life mapping system. And what we do is we take your life and we basically break down the different thought patterns that are keeping you in your head, stuck living a life in your mind that doesn't allow you to be present. And we look at what are the things that have led you to become this person that's so attached to these things, and what are these things, and what can you start doing about these things, and if you can't, what tools can you implement that are going to help you start dealing with those things. Because the goal, again, of yoga is to ease the fluctuations of your mind. So ELM attempts to uncover what are the fluctuations of your mind. What is it that's keeping you either stuck metaphorically in your life or in your thoughts, just reliving the same thought pattern over and over and over again? Because what you learn when you start to understand thought patterns and the mind and how the mind scientifically works, when you have one thought, imagine like a very windy road in the middle of the mountains that's barely thin enough for one car, much less two, but somehow they both fit through there. And you're going through this road, right? when a thought comes to your mind for the first time, that's what it's like for that thought. When you
Mm,
attach to that thought and you start to think about it over and over again, that windy road starts to get straighter and wider. And it's easier for your thoughts and your mind to flow in that direction, which is why depression is so popular. Because when you start thinking negatively about your situation and yourself, and you repeatedly keep doing that, you get stuck in that loop of thinking that way. So ELM attempts to find what is keeping you in that loop so that we can start kind of addressing things one by one. And it's a process like everything else, you know. Yoga's called a practice because there is really nowhere for you to go. There's just, you're always practicing to be aware and to become a better person, and that doesn't ever actually end. In fact, like, if you think that it's over and you've somehow reached some level, like, you're all the way back in zero again. So it's
I would agree with that. You know, I had a friend of mine. I said, you know, when we stop learning, we stop growing. You know,
yeah.
if you're not learning about yourself and learning about life, you're not growing. You just not. There's no movement happening. I like that. Wow, what you guys do. I really think that's powerful because you know we a lot of times we do get stuck in thought patterns, and I love the analogy of the road because I've been on those kind of roads. Out here in California, there's like when you go to the casinos, a lot of time the casinos are they're off way off the beaten path, and you have to take this little road that's about this much space like for your car, and then there's this much space for the other car. So I know that feeling, and that being, I feel confined almost like, oh my gosh, if I do one false move, I'm gonna, who knows, I'll probably run off the cliff here. But that's a great analogy. Thank you, thank you, thank you. And thanks so much for explaining the human success development coach, because I had never heard of it until I read that, and I thought that was pretty
Yeah.
cool.
Yeah,
Um,
it's one of those things, like, we have to first discover, like, what is our definition of success before
yeah.
we can actually figure out what success would look like, because many people think that making money will get them somewhere, getting another position will get them somewhere, and those are milestones in life. Those aren't really like places to actually want to go in life. So it's weird to,
Mhm.
it's, again, it's shifting your perspective about even what that means to you, and the level of the things that you can accomplish.
I like that. So you also with that, you know, your what you do, you also mentioned something. I also read something about I guess this will kind of go along with how you work with them to help them kind of break these ways of thinking. You have something on your bio that you talk about habit development. Is that correct? Like what is habit development?
Well, habit development is learning how to implement different strategies to kind of change the way that you're operating in your daily life. And that especially comes into like your daily habits, right? So for example,
Okay.
if you want to drink more water, if you want to start working out, if you want to incorporate more self-care, more time for your family, anything that you want, but you work too much, but you don't have enough time, like, how does someone that's really really busy manage to change their habits? Like, and the first thing is learning to understand their schedule, learning to understand how they operate, and then modifying things based on who they are. So for
Mhm.
example, if you tell me that you want to start working out, but then at the same time you tell me you're not a morning person, me telling you to get up at 5 in the morning to go work out is already setting you up to fail, because you're not a morning
Yeah.
person. Like, you're already gonna be mad about it. So it's not gonna be something that you enjoy. But if you say, oh, but I really like to take a long lunch. Oh, okay. So then let's take 45 minutes or 40 minutes out of that lunch, and then you can go work out. You're more likely to figure out how to do that than to get up early when you know you don't like to get up early. So it's just, again, it's getting to know. Everything that we do is about helping you uncover who you are,
I
because we
love it.
think, yeah, we think we know who we are, but who we think we are is all these identifications that we put on ourselves. I'm a woman, I'm
Yeah.
Hispanic, I'm a business owner.
Mm,
I'm very yin and very yang, and all these titles, but that's not who we are at all. So it's
mm,
first uncovering who we really are, so that then we can be like, okay, so what would make my life meaningful? And that doesn't mean to anybody else, it's to you. What would
mm.
make your life meaningful for you? And
Yeah.
that could mean like moving somewhere where you could go fishing every day, and that would be what's meaningful to you. So let's make that happen. So yeah, a lot of people have never sat down and really thought about, because we are so focused on making money, that what we think we're here to do, somehow it's work ourselves to the ground and then somehow retire, and like, oh my
And
god, it's like
retire and be
insanity.
exhausted.
It's insanity. Like what they have normalized as like what we should be doing is completely crazy, completely insane.
I am, you know what? I am a fan of yours with that because I'm always talking about that. Like, get the bag here, grab the bag. Now, don't get me wrong. I do want to make some money, but not that way. I don't want to do
Yeah.
it where I'm exhausted and I'm trying to get the next high and the next high. Like, I just,
Yeah.
I've worked too hard on my life I can't do it. So I automatically say no to it because it doesn't work for me. It may work for somebody else. But I love that. I love that what you guys do because I'm a life coach myself. And I notice there's a lot of life coaches. There's a lot out there. And what I have been seeing was on my Instagram more than anything. I have been seeing a lot of people like, hey, I'm gonna, one coach, she was like, I'm gonna make sure I kick you in the butt and you do this, da 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 da. And I just was listening and I'm like, okay, how does that actually adjust to the person and who they are? Because it sounds like it's more about what you do versus getting them to a place for them. And what you just shared, I absolutely love. And I absolutely agree. I don't think there's anything wrong with holding anyone accountable to what they committed to, what they said that they would do. And I'm a firm believer in that. So I appreciate that what you do is it's almost like you're helping them to discover a little bit more about themselves so that they can get to a place where they can, make the steps to actually doing the things that work for them so that they could actually commit to it. Because if you don't do it according to what you can do, you can't really commit to what someone else tells you to do. It's almost like you're going to fall off the wagon, you're strolling, you're going to fall off. So good stuff, girl. I appreciate that. That's the kind of coach I appreciate. So
Yeah.
thank you for really coaching in the way that people need, because they
Yeah.
need to help them see that it's inside of them, right? It's
Yeah.
inside of
It's helping them figure it out for themselves, and you just kind
them.
of like guiding them along the way, because unless you decide, and I'll tell you a little bit like of a personal story, like where I really understood this was, my mom was an alcoholic when I was in college, right after
Mm,
college, and I really wanted to help her, so I had an intervention, and I had her friends come, and I called her work and got everything paid for and got her a leave of absence and did all kinds of stuff, and nothing that I did ever worked. It wasn't
wow.
until she walked herself into rehab that she was able to kick it. But she walked herself there. Like, no one did it for her. No one was forcing her. No one pushed an intervention on her. So, like, early in life, I realized you could be knocking yourself in the head. I could put a pillow there. I could put some ice there. I could do all kinds of things. But until you decide to put down the thing that you're knocking yourself in the head with, there is nothing that I can do to help you. So it's really
Wow.
important for me to like help you see how you're knocking yourself in the head, so that you can learn how to put that down, and how to be healthier for yourself, and
Nice.
Again, you have to decide that for yourself, because what is your meaning of health? What is your meaning of happiness? What is your meaning of success? What is your meaning of having enough money? What is your meaning of financial freedom? Like, every single person like has a different vision of what that means to them.
Yeah.
So like, for me, being free isn't having millions of dollars. For me, being free is being able to use my time exactly how I want to use my time. Like, that's my
Ooh.
driving force. Does that include me having money? It has to, because if I don't have money, how can I use my time the way I want it to? I can't, right?
Yes.
But that's not what's driving me. What's driving me is my ability to be able to say, if someone, I had a client from Romania that contacted me, and she's like, there's no way that I can pay you what you offer. And I was like, okay, I'll do it on a sliding scale. How much can you pay me? And being able to be like, okay, well, I'll modify what I do to be fair for both of us, and we'll make it happen, because that's to me, that's what's more important. And but of course, I have to know my values, and I have to know who I am to understand that that's more important. um and be okay with it, right? And then not feel like someone somehow took something from me when I allowed
Mm.
them to, right? So
Ooh, girl,
there's a lot of inner work goes into this,
you
it's
talking
like,
work talk, honey. This is work talk. I love it. 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 You're so, it's so true what you're saying. You're so right. Like, I do love and respect that you were willing to meet this person with where they were at, and you
mm,
still were offering some kind of help. It wasn't like, because you could have easily said, well, you can't afford me, then I can't really help you. But it sounds like you understand this thing. You understand that there's power in helping somebody. And
mm,
if someone really has come to you and really want the help, you're figuring out, like, how can I help this person? I think that's beautiful. Absolutely
yeah.
beautiful. Wow. Thank you, honey. Ooh, this is good stuff. Juicy. So I want to segue a little bit and talk about your business, because um as you mentioned, you own a business, and I know that we're talking about, our worth and everything, and I know, and I see it clearly. You don't get your attachment through that. You don't get your attachment. You don't your life force is not just your business. Although it's a part of you. So I wanted to ask you though, did you build your business by yourself, or did you have other people helping you? Like, is it something that you just sat down and started to build together and then add a team, or I mean, is your team small? Is it big? Like, was there anything that you face? And I want to segue. I'm going to ask you this second part in a minute, but I want you to just answer the part about, did you build it by yourself, or did you have people help you with it? And then I want to ask you the hard part about it.
So I mostly built it by myself. I did have some help in kind of molding the idea in a better way, because I was a part of a mastermind, and the mastermind really helped me kind of put my idea into play. But I
Mhm.
started building this business in 2008. After I finished my MBA, I went through a depression. The economy wasn't doing well. I couldn't find a job. I had owned a business that, when the economy isn't good, isn't the best business, because it's a luxury business, and most people don't do luxurious things when there's no money to do stuff. So depression is what got me into fitness and wellness, and that started for me in about 2008. And when I got into it and I realized the benefits of it, I started my second company at the time. Then my first one was a racing school, which I also built by myself. But then I realized, like, oh my god, I need some skills. So then I got my MBA, because I was like, I need to learn more management skills. Like,
Yeah.
I don't think I could grow this business if I'm just doing it the way I'm doing it. So but after I finished school, then really going back to the racing school wasn't really a possibility. So then it started morphing into health. So I started doing corporate wellness, where I would build these health and wellness programs for companies to get discounts for their health insurance on the premium for their employees.
Mhm.
Then from there, it morphed into building programs for gyms and fitness centers to help them stand out marketing wise. And that's how it got to where I am now. And always along the way, I coached people like one on one. But I worked a lot with other corporations. And now I'm finally, because I follow the universe and I do whatever God, the universe, whatever you call it, asks me to do. I'm very much follow my intuition. And when things happen, I just look for the opportunity in things. And when COVID happened, I had just built this yoga school for the Bay Clubs in California. Prior to that, I had built another program called Glide Fit, and it was a really popular program. So they asked me to kind of mold their yoga into like something that would be theirs, like just for them. And Bay Lifestyle was going to be the name of this yoga program. And when COVID hit, I had just finished writing it, just finished certifying it. So I had not trained not one person. So I was the only one familiar with the program at that point.
No.
And basically they fired me and told me to take the program with me. So
Wow.
I changed my company name from Life and Style Coaches to Bay Lifestyle. And I sat back and I was like, okay, so if Bay is going to be mine, what does Bay stand for? And automatically it was Beyond Asana Yoga. And I was like, okay, this is my school. This is definitely my
Wow.
school.
You know,
And,
so that's sometimes you have to, you know, get let go of something so that you can go do something.
Yeah.
Are you there?
And can you hear me?
Yeah, you froze just a moment. I can see
Can
you
you hear
now.
me?
Yes,
Okay.
I hear you.
Yeah, and it's crazy because the other day, I looked at my teacher and I was like, 12 years ago, you started this, like you impacted me in a way that you started this. And he's like, how? And I was like, you asked me to take your yoga program. And I had said no, because I didn't want to teach yoga. I wanted to take yoga. And he was like, okay. And I was like, I'm sure you don't remember what you said, but you said, if you like it so much, why are you hoarding it? And literally, to me, that was like someone just psh, psh, and just smacking me in the face with those words. And I was like, oh my God, why am I hoarding this? And, 12 years later, like I have a school, I've graduated tons of students who are also teachers impacting other people. And I've touched thousands of lives through yoga and through what I learned. And one sentence that one person randomly said to me, it triggered all of that. And it showed me the power that we have without knowing that we have it. Yeah. And again, it's like, I don't know. I always feel like when my intuition is asking me to do something, if it scares me enough where I'm like, oh my God, this is insane, I have to do it.
You have to do it. Wow, that's cool. That's cool. I love it. I love it. So you might have answered my next question, and that the next part of this would be what would be so difficult. But it sounds like you got your they let you go. You got fired. Is there anything that was difficult for you? More difficult for you as you were building this business? Because as when you're doing something good, a lot of times you get punched in the face or knocked down and you got to get back up. And so I love for the people that are watching, because we got some business owners probably, or people who want to start a business, like, what was very difficult for you?
Well, I was metaphorically knocked down in 2017. I was living in North Carolina and I was running a yoga studio and teaching classes at 2 other locations. And I got something called Parsonage-Turner syndrome. Parsonage-Turner syndrome is a disease that affects your brachial plexus, and some of the nerves on the right side of my body that connect my brain to my muscles stopped working. And I lost my ability to even do this. Like I couldn't hold anything. I couldn't ask my hand to hold on. It would just slip. Like I had no strength, no nothing. And at the time, I was teaching 23 classes and running the yoga studio. And I was taken out of most of my classes, and I wasn't allowed to teach them because they were what's called barbell classes. So it was heavy lifting classes, and I couldn't hold the bar.
Mm.
So I started modeling to make ends meet. I had done a group modeling shoot, all amateur photographers, amateur models. And I found out a little bit about the industry. And when that happened, I was like, man, if other girls can make a living doing this, then so can I. And I made ends meet until I got this opportunity to go back into building programs in California. And that kind of helped me stand back up. And then, of course, after COVID, I had no way. I mean, I had this beautiful program that I had created, but I had thousands of people that I was going to pitch this program to who were members of the Bay Club. And now I just had my community on Facebook to pitch it to. So it was definitely not easy. I started with my first program online, and I realized that that was not serving people, so I didn't do it. A lot of schools made a lot of money doing things online, but I was like, I just can't. I can't. I feel like they're not getting the right knowledge and education, and I'm not gonna like. That's just not the way that I operate. So in 2021, when people were still freaking out about traveling or not traveling, I was like, you know what? I'm over it. I'm going to start doing retreats, and I'll have some COVID protocols, and we'll make things happen. And since 2021, I've been doing it retreat style. Our average is like 6 or 7 students. We've had as many as 8 in one round. And now I'm building this place here in Puerto Rico where we do monthly events, and we run retreats for other studios and for other teachers and for ourselves. And then we do our teacher trainings from here. So slowly but surely, my goal is to not travel as much. I travel a lot for work doing these retreats, and like I'm gonna start having people come to me. Like
Nice.
the way that yoga was done before is not as easy as now, right? Because a teacher would just sit and they would get basically sponsored by someone, and students would come and they would find the teacher. And now there's so much noise that it's really hard, but I'm going to go back to build them and they will come. And I'm just going to keep showing up and showing the beauty of this place and the beauty of yoga, and just having faith that the right people are going to show up like they have so far.
That's great, girl. I love that. I'm a God girl, so faith for me is huge. So you have to have some faith to do anything. Like if you
Yeah.
don't, it's like you're not going to really accomplish the things that you really want to accomplish. Faith has to be it. Thank you for sharing that story. How has it been for you since or is this disease something that could be cured, or is it something that you're still dealing with today?
I still deal with it somewhat, but so I was told that I would never do yoga again. I was told that I wouldn't do push-ups or have my hands over my head. And granted, like if I raise my hand slowly, like that's how far my right arm goes. But I taught my body to 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 do certain things, and I can walk on my hands again. And I'm 40, so
I've
like
seen you
I'm
do some stuff on your hands. I've watched some pictures. I'm like, this girl is a pretzel.
yeah, so like I've learned the power of the human mind. So when I went to a doctor telling me that I wouldn't ever do something, I was like, I don't even know what that means. I don't even know what that means, because there are no limitations unless I put them on myself, and there's no way I'm letting you put them on me. So I was like, can you help me or can you not help me? And if you can't help me, don't tell me what my body can or cannot do, because you have no freaking idea what the body can do. And
Well,
yeah, and I trained myself. I couldn't find a physical therapist that would touch it. Like nobody really knew. It's a very rare thing. It happens to maybe 1 out of 3 million people. So
mm,
it's just something that most physiotherapists and physical therapists have never seen. So it was really hard for me to find the help that I needed. So chiropractors, massage therapists, and me just using again my intuition and being like, okay, as a personal trainer, I know that I shouldn't do more in one thing than the other. So how can I help my right side with my left side so that I can keep doing it? And I would just raise my one hand with the other. I would always do weights with both hands on the weight. And I just changed my training program. And I mean, it's been years. It's been 6 years. And really, it's been the last year where I've been getting stronger. But I'm still, like, I'm a little deformed because there are some muscles that don't really work so well. So they, like, pop out. But, I don't know. The body's awesome. So it works around it.
And nobody would really know that unless you told them, right?
True.
I'm so inspired by you because what you're sharing here. It's like you got sick, you got a disease, but you did not let that disease overtake you, like emotionally, mentally, physically, and spiritually. You decided you were gonna, and I could tell this about you. Like when I met you, this energy and this, like, oh no, you're not gonna tell me I'm not gonna be able to do. I could see that in you. I could see that in you when I met you. That you have that kind of tenacity and that you're just like there's a strength in you. And I love that you said, and I really hope that the people who are watching hear this, that you said that you started to train your body. Like you were working, you started to do the work for yourself. Nobody would touch you, but you started doing it for yourself. And I think this is something good for people to know, that we don't have to sit in our illnesses. We can actually take some steps ourselves, whether it's yoga or whether it's something that we could just get up every day. Like, okay, I'm going to take this glass and I'm going to just lift the glass every day. I can't, my arms are weak here, but I'm going to try this thing. You just demonstrated that the power of like really, really taking the chance and stepping out there to try something different and not just get caught up in what was told to you.
Yeah, and I mean, don't get me wrong. There were plenty of crying, plenty of poor me, plenty of, like it wasn't like, but I realized very quickly that I was going to run out of money and no one was going to help me. So like I could either stay in the space of poor me, this happened to me, now I can't do the things I love and this and that, or I could put that same energy that I'm spending telling myself that I can't do something and then find something else to do. And in modeling, like, unless like they asked me to lift my arms up and then they saw me do this and then they were like, your rib kind of sticks out, and I'd be like, oh, it's just gonna keep happening. It's what it is. A few times they'd be like, can you lower that rib? And I'd be like, no, dude, like it's just gonna happen. I don't know what to tell you. Like, but it's like what we were talking about, the thoughts making the road bigger. Like, I didn't let my road get straight and wide. Once I started seeing the pattern of my thoughts taking me places where I didn't want to be, I was like, no, there's no way I'm letting this happen. And it takes a lot of self-awareness, and a lot of times we don't have that ability or the tools to know how to step back from our situation and say, this situation isn't who I am. It's just a happening. It's a happening. It's not who I am. And that space allows us inner peace. And that's what yoga and self-awareness and the work of meditation and the work of having something in mind and knowing what you want to work for, so that you can see the opportunity in the failure or the apparent failure. And that's another thing, guys. I don't believe in the word failure. I don't believe it. I think it's a theory. I think it's this thing that people are made to believe, because if you think about failing means that you didn't attempt something else. Literally. That should be the definition of failure. You didn't give it another try. Because nothing actually inherently just fails, right? Because, okay, I'm doing a chemistry experiment and I failed. Oh yeah, okay, so try it again. So put another thing, put a little more of this, put a little less of that. Oh, you're not going to try again? Okay, yeah, you failed. See the difference?
Ooh,
so
girl, Can somebody put that in the chat, please? I think that's a great definition. I think it's a great definition. I, as you were saying it, I never even thought about it that way. Like, that's pretty cool. A great
Yeah.
definition. Thank you, girl. This is good stuff. I want to hop over here and read a few of these comments real quick. Let me read some comments here. So a lot of these are recaps. Let's see here. How can I be present? I'm just gonna go because some of you are hopping on right now, so you'll get these little highlights here. But we were talking about how can I be present? This is a fundamental question for me and my personal growth. Yoga is a practice because it never ends. Each person needs to define what is meaningful for themselves. Freedom is being able to use my time how I want to. You share that. Wow, that's an amazing story. I'm so happy to see that you have recovered. Great information, Johanna. Powerful. Failure, not giving one more try. Thanks for putting that in the chat. And somebody put thanks for the highlights. You're welcome. Thank you guys.
Let Can I say something? I know someone said something about being more present. So the way that you can be more present is by noticing if you're having a conversation about what's happening in your own head. That's the first thing that you can do, is gain that awareness of, am I just having a conversation, or am I just listening to this person? Am I comparing it to something that I've done? Or am I just attempting to feel and imagine and be empathic with what someone is telling me? And when you start asking those questions, instead of just rambling in your head and having random conversations with the thoughts that come in, that's when you start becoming more present. Oh, you're muted.
I don't know how I got muted. It did it on its own. That's crazy. Tough girl. That was good. I'm going to use that. I like that. Thank you. Thank you guys for putting some comments in the chat. I appreciate y'all. We're kind of winding down, but I do want to ask you this because I don't want to leave this question now before we finish this conversation, but everything that you've shared has been amazing. Thank you. You talked about modeling a little bit, and I want to segue into my next question because you recently competed in a beauty pageant, and as y'all can see her title right there, you were crowned as a queen. Whoop, whoop, whoop. And I remember you mentioning like I think it was you that said you didn't like necessarily plan to go and do a beauty pageant. I'm not sure if that was you or not, but I want to know a little bit more of like, just tell me like your highlight. You got this crown now. Like, how does this help you? How does it add to what you're doing? Give me your highlight. What is your big takeaway from this opportunity?
Oh, well, first, as I mentioned before, if something scares me, I definitely need to do it. So that was one of these opportunities that came up, and I was like, oh my God, there's no way. I'm a very big tomboy. I've never in my life imagined competing in a pageant. And although I did model, I did it because life put me in a situation, dealt me some cards, and I played them, right? But it wasn't really like my choice in career. When I looked into what the Woman of Achievement stood for, and I realized that they were about a platform, and they were about highlighting the things that you've accomplished and the kind of person that you are being, and how you're impacting the world. That's what led me really to make the commitment to say yes and participate. And I was only invited 2 months before the competition. I had no idea what I was getting myself into. I just thought I had to dress up and do a speech. And then I kept finding more things that we had to do and more things that we had to do. And for 2 months, my whole life became this pageant. And it was cool because I got to make a lot of really amazing connections. I got to reestablish existing connections that I had kind of fallen by the wayside. And I'm using it as an opportunity to connect deeper to Puerto Rico and to the work that I'm doing here, because I haven't lived here for a very long time. It's been more than 12 years. So I don't know that many people here, although I'm very well known in California, in New York, in North Carolina, and Florida. I'm not very well known in my country. So it was important for me to represent my country so that they could see why what I did mattered. And that's why I really took it so seriously. Because let me tell you right now, I was not going to go there and not win. Like in my head, I was like, there's no way I am doing all this and spending all this money and doing all this. But in the same token, I was like, these women are amazing. I'm just a yoga teacher. Like,
so many amazing ladies. Oh my gosh. The room was
um,
filled with
oh,
excellence.
it was beautiful. It was beautiful, you know, and the camaraderie and the friendships, because I feel like the way that they set it up, I never felt like I was competing with anyone but myself. Like I never felt like I had to like feel threatened or threaten someone or like be catty or petty like that, because I feel like each one of us was so unique in our style, in our point of view, in what got us to that space, that it was hard for us to compete against each other. You know, we were just showing what we were passionate about. And yeah, it was a competition because someone had to judge what you're passionate about versus what I'm passionate about. But I never really felt like that was the environment that I was in. And it allowed me to just be me. It allowed me to really be, again, because I didn't know what I was getting myself into. It allowed me to be really authentic in the way I dressed, in the way that I spoke, and it allowed me to really put together all of these things that I do and make it make sense to a bunch of people who maybe have never heard me speak before, which most
Yeah.
of them hadn't. So it gave me some validation on the work that I'm doing, which has been really amazing because, as I mentioned, it's been a lot of years since 2008. That's 15 years this year. In October, exactly, it'll be 15 years. Um,
Wow.
so it was a really good like way to start the year. I lost my mom last year. It was exactly 1 year since I had lost my mom, the day of the pageant.
Wow.
So yeah, so there was a lot also going on like behind the scenes for me. Um, in just knowing that like if my mom had been there, she would have been there with me every step of the way. She would have bought me every dress, been to every fitting, and done everything with me because she would have been head over heels. Because when I modeled, I had a competition and I finished 34 out of like 12,100 and some girls, and she went to Las Vegas with me and went to the party with me. so so I definitely, a part of me also felt like I needed to do that for her because I knew she would enjoy it so much. So there was a lot that came with that pageant. And of course, now I have also the opportunity to MC the Miss California Extraordinaire pageant that Bree is putting together, which is
Nice.
just, I'm so excited. Like, I already bought my ticket. I already have a place to stay. Like, I am ready. I'm ready. I spoke to her today, and I'm just so excited that, you know, so many beautiful things have come out of this. I was asked to help inaugurate the new police station in my town, and I don't know, just really cool things that are happening based on this.
That is so awesome. So awesome. And thank you for just sharing about your mom. My condolences. Um,
Thank you.
what a way to honor her. Like
Mm,
you
I
would
agree.
and you would even do a pageant, during the anniversary of her passing. I just think that it just shows all the more the kind of human being you are. You're pretty amazing, girl, and I'm just very grateful you came on tonight. Yes, I I'm not just saying that. I really do appreciate you sharing this
Thank
platform with
you.
what you've shared tonight has been really, really precious. I think that a lot of people can learn from what you're talking about. And I didn't even realize that you had lived in California. I did not know that. But I do remember that you told me when I come to Puerto Rico that I could stay at your house. So I'm gonna hold you to that. But some people are saying somebody said that they were a tomboy, so they can relate to you. And someone also added that they love this, what you're talking about. So beautifully done. Beautifully done tonight. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you.
So
Thank you for allowing me to share.
I appreciate you sharing because you kind of already answered my next question because I said, "What are your next steps?" And you're already doing some stuff. That's what I wanted to
Yeah.
ask you. Is there anything additionally that you would like to share and leave people with, whether it's regarding your new journey as a queen or your business practice? Like, is there any, like, if you had a quote or anything you would want to leave with the guest tonight, what would it be?
Oh man, just find your inner child, find those things that make you smile, and then go out there and share it with the world. Like there's nothing better than creating inner happiness and inner peace, and it can be anything, and you don't need anyone's validation. Just do like carve your own road, create your own path, and have it be something that only matters to you. That way, it doesn't matter what anybody says, what anybody thinks. You're just doing it for you, and what matters is that you enjoy the journey. Enjoy the journey of life because it's a beautiful one.
I love it. I love it. Y'all hear that? Enjoy the journey of life. It's a beautiful one. Girl, you can craft that, coin that. Good tag. That's a good tag. Thank you, beautiful. That's our time.
Thank
I
you.
appreciate you so much. I know that you got to get some rest too. I'm very honored that you came on tonight. It means a lot to me. So I appreciate you. And I cannot wait to just share some more moments with you.
Absolutely.
I love what you do. And I, as a queen, I cheer you on, honey. I cheer you on. All right, y'all. That's our time. We appreciate you watching. And as I always say to y'all out there, Facebook and YouTube, make it a great day because you can. Peace, y'all. Thank you, baby.